Imagine you are in a high-end venue. The room is filled with the low hum of successful voices and the subtle clinking of glasses. Everyone seems to be trying to be heard, but the most striking person isn't the loudest. It is the one observing the scene with calm confidence. As an introvert, you might feel the world is built for extroverts, but your ability to observe is actually your secret weapon for control. Today, we are engineering your social presence. In our third station, I will reveal a powerful secret, a technique used by top leaders to command a room without saying a word. This will completely change how you handle difficult questions forever. We are navigating 4 critical stations today. Station 1, building presence upon entry. Station 2, directing the conversation toward depth. Station 3, the Ma technique for responding to tough questions. Station 4, the art of a graceful departure.
Shadowing zone. Engineer your fluency.
Station 1, building presence upon entry. Presence does not start with speaking. A smart introvert grants themselves the right to read the room first before committing to any dialogue. Try this. I usually take a few minutes to settle in before starting any conversations. This sets a boundary. You aren't apologizing for silence, you are declaring it a sovereign decision. Why rush when you can lead through observation? Repeat now. I usually take a few minutes to settle in before starting any conversations. Keep your tone calm, confident, and deliberate. I usually take a few minutes to settle in before starting any conversations. When someone approaches you immediately, use this response to maintain your space without appearing distant. Practice this. It is a pleasure to be here. I am just taking in the atmosphere for a moment. Taking in the atmosphere transforms your silence into refined observation. It shows you as someone who values the setting over small talk. It is time to shadow. It is a pleasure to be here. I am just taking in the atmosphere for a moment. Imagine you are holding a drink and speaking with total class. It is a pleasure to be here. I am just taking in the atmosphere for a moment. Station 2, directing the conversation toward depth. An introvert looks for a real connection, skillfully steering the focus away from superficiality. Say it like this. I find that focused discussions are much more rewarding at these events. You are informing them that your time is valuable. You prefer substantive topics that offer real value. I find that focused discussions are much more rewarding at these events. Focus on the pronunciation. Quality of speech defines your status in the room. I find that focused discussions are much more rewarding at these events. If someone asks about your progress in the room, reply with this phrase to showcase your selective nature. I would rather have one meaningful talk than move quickly through the room. You aren't justifying why you met few people. You are displaying your commitment to professional depth. I would rather have one meaningful talk than move quickly through the room. Feel the confidence this defensive tactic grants you. I would rather have one meaningful talk than move quickly through the room. Station 3, the Ma technique for responding to tough questions. In cultures like Japan, top leaders use Ma, the intentional pause, to gain authority. When a tough question arrives, do not rush. Try this. That is an interesting point. Let me reflect on that for a second. Reflect signals that the question is significant. It grants you control over the timing of the answer. That is an interesting point. Let me reflect on that for a second. Feel the power of silence working for you. That is an interesting point. Let me reflect on that for a second. If the topic is complex, use this phrase to position yourself as a strategic thinker. Say it this way. I appreciate the depth of your question. It deserves a thoughtful response. You are shifting pressure to the value of the question. It creates an immediate sense of elite authority. I appreciate the depth of your question. It deserves a thoughtful response. Open your chest and breathe. You are in control now. I appreciate the depth of your question. It deserves a thoughtful response. Station 4. The art of a graceful departure. Withdrawing at the peak of an interaction preserves your energy and status. Do not wait for the energy to fade. Try this approach. It has been a great discussion, but I think I will step away for a bit. Step away is a polite tactic to end the talk. It suggests you have other priorities or simply need space. It has been a great discussion, but I think I will step away for a bit. Imagine yourself smiling confidently and withdrawing calmly. It has been a great discussion, but I think I will step away for a bit. To leave the door open for future networking without prolonging the current talk, use this tactical closing. Say it like this: I have really enjoyed our talk. Let us reconnect when it is less crowded. This showcases social intelligence. You signal that you value the person, but respect your own boundaries. I have really enjoyed our talk. Let us reconnect when it is less crowded. Final shadow for this session. Make it a strong closing statement. I have really enjoyed our talk. Let us reconnect when it is less crowded. It is time for the Shadow Listen Challenge. I am about to speak a sentence that is the strongest tactical tool for ending loud conversations while maintaining a high-level personal connection. Listen closely. It will not appear on the screen. Actually, I am keen to explore these insights further in a quieter setting. Did you catch it? Write the sentence in the comments below. Let us see who among you has truly developed the ears of a social strategist. I will be watching for the most accurate responses. I will perform your new protocol in full, so your ears can soak in the rhythm of confidence. Relax and listen. I usually take a few minutes to settle in before starting any conversations. It is a pleasure to be here. I am just taking in the atmosphere for a moment. I find that focused discussions are much more rewarding at these events. I would rather have one meaningful talk than move quickly through the room. That is an interesting point. Let me reflect on that for a second. I appreciate the depth of your question. It deserves a thoughtful response. It has been a great discussion, but I think I will step away for a bit. I have really enjoyed our talk. Let us reconnect when it is less crowded. Linguistic elegance is a real investment in your social capital and self-development. It is not enough to understand these sentences. You must repeat them until they become a second nature. To strengthen these skills, I recommend watching our session on the art of small talk. It is the introductory key that makes entering deep topics smoother. Subscribe to the channel to remain part of the elite community in Shadowing Zone. I will see you in the next session.